start the advance with the front foot, the gain, the back foot comes all the way up, and then you run. Straight, I'm going to let the upper body drop. 1, 2. Hi, my name's Coach Tyler with Fencer's Edge, and I'm here to show you 7 tips for better target practice. This will be part 1 of an 8-part series I'm doing on fencing blade drills you can do to practice at home. I'll be covering blade drills that you can do in all 3 weapons, foil, saber, and epee, and today's video I will just be giving you some tips on how you can improve your blade skills and get the most out of your target practice at home. So before we begin, I want to talk to you a little bit about the different targets that you could use while practicing. You may not have a punching bag dummy like this one, so if you don't have that, you can find a tree and wrap a towel around the tree and practice on the tree. That way you're not injuring the tree or your sword. You could also wrap a towel around a post in your house. Something else that I've done is I've taken a thick piece of foam and kind of bent it so it makes a curve, and I've nailed that into a board that you can hang on the wall, and it gives a nice curvature like the torso of a body would. You could also alternatively use a punching bag or a tennis ball like I'll be showing you in some of the later videos. So those are some options for alternate targets that you could use to practice on. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first tip is wear your fencing glove. Now there's a couple reasons why you want to wear your fencing glove while doing target practice. The first reason is when you are practicing on the dummy and you're hitting the dummy a bunch of times over and over again and you're not wearing your fencing glove, there's a good chance you can develop some annoying and painful blisters on your hand. So let's avoid those blisters, protect the hand, and wear your fencing glove. The second reason why you want to wear your fencing glove is just so you get really familiar with how the blade feels in your hand while wearing the glove. That way when you step on strip and go to fence, your blade will feel at home in your hand with the glove on, and it will give you that extra comfort and confidence necessary to win the touch. The next tip is practice with good distance. Okay? When you're fencing, you want to get very comfortable and familiar with what your maximum scoring distance is. Now, your maximum scoring distance is the furthest you can be away from the target and still score a touch. Okay? So in saber fencing, you should be touching the target with no more than that top inch or 2 of your blade. If you're in here and you're hitting deeper on the blade, like up here or even worse down here, you're not learning your maximum scoring distance, and it won't be helpful for you when you go to fence. Now, if you are fencing foil or epee, you want to be touching the target and having a slight bend in the blade. So you want to be making just enough contact to push in that button and produce a small bend in the blade. You don't want to be having a large bend in the blade when you score your touch on the target. Okay? So get really familiar with your maximum scoring distance and practice with really good distance when working on a target. Okay, so the next tip is practice slowly. Okay? When you are working on your blade drills, when you're practicing at home, at least 50% of your touches should be done very slowly and carefully and mindfully of how you are extending your arm. Making sure that you're not doing any pumps, making sure that your actions are very, very small and concise, that you're going in with the proper angle for the touch that you're wanting to practice, and being very accurate with where you're placing the point. Okay? So practice slowly. I know this is kind of counterintuitive because as fencers you want to be as fast as possible, and I tell you, if you practice slowly, your actions are going to be perfect. You're going to nail down that smallest action possible to get the touch, and that will greatly improve your speed when you go to going full speed while you're fencing or when you're training the speed on the target. Okay, so practice slowly, be mindful of your form, and perfect your actions. Be mindful of how you're extending the arm, okay? Okay, so the next tip is be mindful of your body movements, okay? I talked a little bit about this in the last tip, but when you are performing these actions, you want to be really mindful of how your body is moving. So be aware of, are your knees bent? Is your back straight? Is your hand in the unguard position, or is it up or down and not the proper unguard position? So be mindful of how you're moving your body. When you go to do movements to score the touch, you want to be mindful, is my arm extending first, or am I lunging and then extending the arm, or am I pulling the arm back before I go, telegraphing my cut? So be really mindful of how you're moving your body when you're practicing on the target or the practice dummy. So the next tip is recover with good form and balance after each touch. So whether you are just doing arm only distance where you touch, be aware of how you're recovering with the arm, okay? Make sure your hand returns back to that unguard position. If you're doing foil or épée, you're not dropping the point after the touch, okay? And you're not just standing up and giving up after the touch. You want to maintain that good form all the way through the touch and the recovery, okay? If you're doing a lunge or an advanced lunge, you should advance lunge, recover back to a guard, and make one retreat, okay? Be very mindful of how you're moving your body in that, and recover with good form and balance, all right? When you lunge on that recovery, bend that back leg so you come back nice and low with your feet wide apart. I see a lot of fencers, a lot of beginner fencers starting off, they'll lunge and then they'll just stand up on this back leg and it throws them off balance, brings their feet too close together. So bend that back leg for the recovery, come back nice and low with good balance and good form. Okay, so the next tip is practice with discipline, okay? If you want to be really good at fencing, you're going to need to be very disciplined in your practice. So what I mean by that is set aside a time every week or every day that you are solely dedicated just to doing target practice, okay? And do the complete drill. Do it to the best of your ability. Don't just go out there and be like, okay, I touched 3 times, all right, there's my target practice, I'm done. No. Be disciplined, do the whole drill, do it to perfection. If you make one small mistake, redo that part over and over again until you perfect it. And be disciplined with your practice. Even when you're tired or whatever life throws at you, you want to make sure you make time to get your practice in. If you do that, you are going to be an amazing fencer before you know it. So be disciplined in your practice. Okay, so the last tip is you want to be safe with your target practice. You want to practice safety, and part of that is wearing your glove. The other parts of that are making sure that there's nobody standing around you while you're doing your target practice. You don't want to accidentally hit somebody who's standing by you or behind the target, okay? If you are practicing with a partner, make sure that they're wearing their full fencing gear, mask, underarm protector, jacket, pants, okay? Make sure that they are fully geared up so that you can be safe. Also, when you are practicing on a dummy, make sure that there's nothing around you that you can accidentally hit and break, okay? So be safe out there, have fun, and enjoy improving your fencing game with these target practice drills. Okay, so that concludes this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you see improved results from your practice. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, and comment below. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page. I'm going to be posting a whole bunch more content. I'm going to be doing a video a week for you guys, and some of those videos will be just for my patrons only. There'll be premium content with extended workout drills and other helpful tools to help you dramatically improve your fencing game. So until next time, be strong, have fun, and practice.